Good. See the new parak here? Sorry.
No, but
What happened there?
followed steps.
Yeah. Is there a cast on there? No. Okay, the parak starts like this. Chata saif Meilah Daf. We're talking about Meilah by different karbanos. And at what point is there Meilah? What point does the Meilah go off? So this parak starts off with the Chata saif, which is the bird. That's a chatas. The blood is sprinkled below the middle line. The Chata saif has something unique that you sprinkle the blood and then you squeeze out the blood. The Eily saif is only squeezing out the blood against the wall. We have two steps to this. So the Chata saif is Meilah, but there's already Meilah in it, Mishahakdasha, from when it's consecrated. Now that means that it's Kachi Kachim, right? Because all Kachi Kachim, there was Meilah right away. The Meilah is going to go off when the service is finished. Now, Nimlaka, that's like the Shechita, the Malika is done, then Huchshirli Pasal B'Tfil Yaim, it can become Pasal by being touched by a Tfil Yaim, which is someone that was Tameh, that went to the mikveh, that needs to wait for nightfall. So in the interim, during that time, after the mikveh, before nightfall, so if this fellow touches the Chata saif, he makes it Pasal. We should point out that there's a difference between Pasal and Tameh. Pasal means that it becomes Tameh, and Tameh means that it becomes Tameh in a way that it can make others Tameh. So Pasal is like, it becomes Tameh, but it stops there, it can't continue on.
There is such a thing of something that could be Tameh and not Tameh something else.
Yeah, at the end of the line.
In principle, if you're Tameh Meis, if you're Tameh Dos, yeah.
Oh, I forgot that. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so what happens is that Tumah goes in steps. So there's Avi Avaisa Tumah, that's right, like the mace, and there's an Ava Tumah, then there's a Rishon, and a Sheni.
It could be both, you're saying.
So what we're talking about here is that this is the end of the line where the Tvul Yaim touches it and it doesn't make anything. It's the last step.
So that's Pasal. Right. Wow.
Anywhere in the middle, it would have been considered Tameh. We'll see. Mechosek Kippurim is someone that already waited for nightfall, but he didn't bring his karbanos yet. So that's, he's not allowed to eat from this. And Ubalina, and if it stays overnight.
Is that spelled Pasul the same way as Lo Tasel Peso? Is it the same spell? So it don't go anywhere beyond Peso either. It's a way to remember it.
Yeah.
Okay. The next step is Huzadama. The blood is sprinkled. So then Chayav Alav Mishum Pigel Naisavitame. Then if there were thoughts of Pigel anywhere earlier in this carbon, or if the Huzadama was with thoughts of Pigel, that means out of the allotted time. So then it becomes Pigel. In other words, there's no Pigel until the Huzadama, because the Hazah, the sprinkling of the blood, makes it set that now this is a kosher carbon, and now all Pigel thoughts before are now like activated. Right. You know, that's the. And nicer if it's left over, the Iber Geblibna and Tameh, as if it's Tameh, becomes Tameh, or the person's Tameh, can't eat from it. Ve'imba Meilah, that's the big chiddush here, that the Meilah goes off at that point. Because it's Kachi Kachim and it becomes food for the Kayan, and so the Meilah goes off it after the sprinkling of the blood. So Gemara says like this: Ketani Puchshra Lipasal B'Tfil Yaim B'Chosek Kippurim U'Balina. We said that after the Malika, it becomes susceptible to Tumah from the Tfil Yaim B'Chosek Kippurim U'Balina. When it says Mechusar Kippurim, I translate it that a Mechusar Kippurim can't eat from it. Does it say that the Mechusar Kippurim somehow makes it tummy as well? Is that what it's referring to? What does your commentary say? Yeah, in contact with one who has not yet brought an atonement offering. What is that? Is that a B in the background? Until they bring these offerings, they are classified as lacking atonement. They're not permitted to enter the tent. translation they said contact. But in the note they say they're forbidden to eat from it. Okay.
Wait, who are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about the Mechusar Kippurim.
Oh, because what you read was, I think, on the Tamui Lo.
No, 1 second. No. That's the next thing. So what do we see over here? That it becomes susceptible to Mechusar Kippurim Lina and Lipasel. All of this is Lipasel. So it goes like this. Lipasel in. To become pasel, yes. Aval it's Eily, but it doesn't become tamei. Now, we're talking about the Tfil Yaim, not the Mechusar Kippurim. Right. Now, we spoke about there's this difference between pasel and tamei. Pasel means that it becomes tamei, but tamei means it makes others tamei. The Gemara asks Mas Nisin Mani, who's the author of our Mishnah, that holds that a Tfil Yaim only makes it pasel, not tamei. Says Rabbanan he. It's the Rabbanan. In the Tanya, we quote a Brisa, it's a Tosefta. It goes like this. Abashal says, Tvul Yaim Tchila L'Kaidash. Tchila means that it's a Rishon. So again, if you have the stages of Tumah,
It's like a Bais. So that will become...
the Tchila would be a Rishon.
A Bais.
Yeah, okay. So the Bais would be the mace. That
okay.
You don't become the Bais. Yeah, you become the Bais. But something that contacts the mace, this becomes an avatama.
Mm-hmm.
Then the avatama can make a rishon. So we're talking now that the rishon that no, this is going to confuse us. A rishon. Okay, this will work. The rishon can make a sheni. And the sheni can make a shlishi, so it goes down steps. Now, what's the big deal here? That a shlishi is the end of the game, end of the stage for truma. However, for kudshim, it goes one more step. And it can go to a revi. So what it looks like for us is that a tfil yaim is right here, because he can only make one more step, and that's it. And then tfil yaim touches it. This can't go. If this comes in contact with other things, it doesn't spread. It'd be like, let's say we wiped up a stain, a coffee stain. So, and then we use something else to touch this. It touches this. At this point, it's not going to spread. It goes from. It just doesn't spread anymore. That's it. The tumah doesn't spread. Okay, so.
I don't know how much time this has been made.
Yeah, you have to have the history in there. So 1 second. He touched the mace. He went to the funeral. This guy, he came home. He touched him.
Oh.
Now he touched the food. This food went into my plate, and I had other food. So that's you would have to see the background. So Abashol says that a tvil yaim is a tchila. Tchila's right here. This is our tchila, our rishon. It means that the kodesh food is going to be a sheni. Sheni can make a shlishi, can make a revi. It's pretty strict. Reb Meir mitami asa kodesh upaisel asa truma. Reb Meir says no. Reb Meir says a tvil yaim. This is the tvil yaim. He's mitami asa
Why does he get
kodesh.
so far down?
Well, he already went to the mikveh.
Okay.
So
this is before his tefillah or after the tefillah?
No, tvil yaim means after the mikveh, but he has to wait for nightfall. So he's not supposed to come in contact with holy foods, like we said in the first Mishnah in Brachas, that when does the time for Shema, when they can eat from the truma. Why? Because he was a tvil yaim and he has to wait for the nightfall. So he's not allowed to eat truma. So what happens here? Reb Meir says that the tvil yaim is right here. He's mitame asa kodesh. Mitame means that he makes this kodesh food tamei, that it could make other food tamei. It's mitame asa kodesh. If there's two foods of kodesh, sacrifices here, he touches one, that can make the next one. However, paisel asa truma, but it only makes truma pasel because truma stops out by a shlishi. So it's only paisel asa truma. The Chachamim say kshem shu paisel mashke truma va'ichle truma. The same way it only makes this pasel. So kacha paisel mashke kodesh va'ichle kodesh. It's this sort of strange sort of thing that it goes out of It doesn't have a real status. All we know is that it only goes one level for each thing.
Are we saying that we're just saying the case that our Mishnah is talking about is that he's a shlishi or a V, whatever? Why can't he be the first guy?
No, we're not saying that that's the case. We're saying that every Tfil Yom, what's his status?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the status of a Tfil Yom. The guy could have been, let's say the guy was a Zav, Balkari, he had a Tumah, let's say.
Okay.
So, originally, he's an Avatama. Now he went to the mikveh. Now where do we put him here? Now where do we put him here? After he goes to the mikveh.
If he's Avatuma, he's number one. What do you mean?
No, but he went to the mikveh already.
Okay, so call it number two. I'm not sure how you get down so far to 3 and 4. That's what I'm missing.
So he's not allowed to eat truma or kaidash. What happens when he touches it? So we say that in our Mishnah we said that he's paisel.
Right.
So now we know that he's paisel. That means he's over here. Because we don't have where to.
Why can't we say he's up earlier? I'm just trying
because he already went to the mikveh.
So why couldn't he have been number one? Went to the mikveh.
No, what he was before, we're not discussing. All we know that right now he went to the mikveh, and it's already
bumps him down 3 levels, 4 levels.
Yeah, he went to the mikveh. So, but now in this after the mikveh, what happens to him? So we have Abba Shaul that says he's over here. You have Rabbi Meir that says he's here. You have the Chachamim that say that he's here or here, depending on what he's touching.
So he moves one step once he goes to the mikveh.
Yeah,
one step
at least. What do you need? We won't tell him what it was used for. Okay.
It's not puzzle.
Yeah, he'll get funny ideas there.
So when we said in our Mishnah that becomes puzzle, after the Malika, the carbon becomes puzzle by a Tvil Yom, that goes according to the Chachamim. Because if it went according to Abba Shaul, it would be Tamei, the Kaidesh. If it went according to Rabbi Meir, it would be Tamei. The only way it fits is according to the Rabbanan that say that it's puzzle. Okay, Amar Rava. Rava says, I can answer everything up over here with a very simple answer. That there's a difference between a Deraisa and a Derabanan, and our Mishnah is talking about the Deraisa, and Abba Shaul and the Chachamim are talking about the Derabanans, and so you don't have to say, limit our Mishnah to just that opinion. The Rava says like this. La Bashal, we can answer and say that it fits with our Mishnah as well. Because Meilah Asa B'Kachim, they made something chumrah by Kachim. We didn't look at that aleph. What is that? La Bashal Nami. Okay, we can say it goes like Avashal. Because they did something by Kachim that Shavinu Rabbanan L'Tfil Yom Karishan. The rabbis made a Tfil Yom like a Rishon, which is this phantom.
Wait, didn't you say that the Chachamim go with 5 or 4?
Yeah, now let's not get confused between the Rabbanan that are arguing on Abba Shaul and Rabbi Meir, and when we say Rabbanan in general, we just mean the Araisa versus the Rabbanan.
Oh.
We're not talking to a specific rabbi, we're talking about it's a rabbinic decree. Okay?
Because the Chachamim you always go by Chachamim.
Yeah, but sometimes if there's a group, well, we'll refer to some of them as the Chachamim versus the individuals. But then we can talk about the Torah versus the rabbis. We're not talking about an individual or a group. So, L'Rab Meir also, you can go like this. You can say, Ka'eichel Sheni. Rab Meir says that it becomes like a Sheni, which makes a Shlishi. And a Shlishi, we said, is Metame Truma. Is Paisel Truma and Metame Kaidesh. And that's only all rabbinic. And L'Rabbanan, Kivan de Taval Kalash. Let's do it like this. Kivan de Taval. The Rabbanan hold that since he went to the mikveh, Kalash Tuma, the Tuma got weakened, and Pasal Mashrei, Tamilai Mashrei. He can only make something Pasal, no matter what it is, and he can never make anything Tamei. So it sort of goes out of line with the Rabbanan's opinion. It's like it doesn't go under the same laws of regular Tuma where well, where is he? If he's here for this, then that means he's there for that. No, it doesn't do that. It only is paisel, whatever he touches. You know the Eshkol printing, publishing, Eshkol. So he's I think he's a Lubavitch. I think it's two brothers. One is a Vishnitzer, one's a Lubavitch. Weinfeld is the name. The Chumash Shaila Meira is made by them. And beautiful Pshatim and Rashi. On the Pshatim and Rashi, he quotes Biurim. That's supposed to be the Rebbe.
Oh.
Yeah. And he works on the newer edition has Rashi's manuscripts. He puts on the side like really interesting things. But he wrote a sefer called Mapa Satara, where in the back he has a chart of all the different levels of Tumah and Tara. And he published the letter of the Rebbe in there because he only ends up with the Revi. For Kodesh, it only goes to Revi. And the Rebbe wrote to him that if you're going to make a chart, you have to do it perfect. And for Para Aduma, it continues past Revi. Because for Para Aduma, there's more, so you should add that in a chart. Yeah. So he published the letter in the front of the Sefer.
The fact that he was for Paraduma is telling you something.
What's it telling us?
It was something about
double check.
It was a sefer on the Meiri. It was really a sefer on the Meiri. In the back, it had something. I forget exactly what it had to do with the Meiri, but it was anyway. Okay, who's a dama chayavin chulu?
This is from the Mishnah.
This is a quote from the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that once the blood is sprinkled, then the chiyuvim of pigel, those prohibitions of pigel, nicer and tamei will take effect, and then there's no me'ilah. So we said, who's a dama? So the Gemara says, first of all, when it concludes, it says that the me'ilah goes off. Now, we had this diak in the last Mishnah, in the last parak as well. It says, me'ilah hu daleka, aval isura ikka. Why do you just say that there's no me'ilah? It sounds like you can't eat it, but there's no me'ilah. We were saying, 1 second, why is there no me'ilah? Because the kayanim can now eat it.
Right.
But it didn't finish the point. Now, why can't you eat it? It belongs to the kayanim. The kayanim are supposed to eat it. Why is there any yisur? So the Gemara says, Rab Chanina liyotzin, talking about that it left the temple. Exactly how we answered in the last parak.
Oh wow!
And it was also Rabbi Chanina.
So you can get back into that one.
And it's the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva holds that the sprinkling of the blood helps for yotzin, for meat that left the temple and came back in. And that's why you're not allowed to eat it, because it's possible, but it's still all the laws of Zrika still work. So the lav basa, the Rabbi Kivi the Zrika melis the yotzei the lav basa chilahi. It's not edible halachically, but nevertheless there's no meat.
Usually the Gemara doesn't say who the lacha goes like.
No. Usually it doesn't, correct. It does sometimes, usually it doesn't.
Here?
Over here it's saying that our Mishnah is following Rabbi Akiva. It's not telling us the halacha is like Rabbi Akiva. It's just telling us how to interpret the Mishnah. And if we read the Mishnah according to Rabbi Akiva's reasoning, the wording fits better.
Wait, so when he says that the meat's not subject to Meilah, but it is forbidden for consumption,
Right.
Something doesn't sound right there.
Yeah, so there's rules of Meilah. If someone has personal benefit from it,
Right.
either by selling it or eating it or using it for something, so then after the sprinkling of the blood, there's no Meilah anymore. Why? Because it's meant to be
you
eaten.
can have the benefit, but you can't.
Yeah.
So it's just one part of the benefit.
Right,
You can't.
but it sounds like, yeah,
Gotcha.
right. So we were asking, why did you say there's no Meilah? You should say even more, you can eat it. So we said, oh, it must mean that there's something else wrong with this.
And this is a rabbinic issue now.
Was Rabbi Akiva rabbinic? No.
This
It's
is
not a
his
rabbinic
opinion
issue.
that
This is a
deraisa.
deraisa. You can't eat it because it was yotzei.
So we switched
Yeah, this
topics here.
yeah.
We switched here.
Yeah, so we're throwing it all in. This is like a salad. We have in here the rabbinic laws. We have in here and deraisas. it's not a problem, because it is telling you the bottom line of all of these things. I don't have an additional rabbinic law that changes this. I think there's rabbinic laws here. There's laws that even go back to their ISIS.
I was asking, so I was trying to figure out what the Rabbanim were trying to protect by this particular point, but if it's derisa.
No, it's also to eat because it was Yaitse. It left the temple before the sprinkling. Okay, so Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav. Rav Huna says in the name of Rav, Mitzay chatas oif ein ma'akiv. The squeezing out of the blood onto the wall, which it says in the pasuk, that's what you're supposed to do, by the chatas, is not ma'akiv. Why? The Tani Rav, because Rav taught in our Mishnah exactly the wording of our Mishnah, Huza Dama, when the blood is sprinkled. And once the blood's sprinkled, it says that that's the end of the that's the end of the process. If there was more to the process, then it should have said mitzay. After this huza, after the sprinkling, is the squeezing, and it doesn't say that. That means that's the end of the line. It means that if you don't do it, it's not ma'akiv. It doesn't affect the validity of the carbon. That was Rav Huna's opinion. Ravada Barava Amarav. Ravada Barava says it. It's supposed to be Mishmei Rav. Ravada Barava is a little.
Can I just ask a question? Just still going back. Last 2 days, whatever, we went to such arichas. If it was Yaitse, if there was some basar that remained, it was before the night time that it went out.
It's assuming we know all of that.
So it's just turned around and says it's Akiva. But what happens if there was some basar there? Then who says it's like him? Maybe.
Oh yeah, you got to
like
look back and go through that. Yeah.
So it's saying here that it's just taking it.
The Gemara at some certain points will even say, "Is it the way we asked?" No, it's the way we answered, and it doesn't tell you the ins
so
and
it's
outs.
just assuming that you already.
You're gonna have it then. I mean, yeah. It says kidamakshinan. It says like kidamishaninan, and it's because it just gets repetitive, and it just
So like when Rashi asks this question, he says he's assuming that the Ben Chamesh already learned it last week, so he's not going to repeat it now.
Something like that. Ravada Barava says you have to add in the word Mishmei Rav. Mitzri chata saif ma'akiv. No, the sprinkling of the squeezing of the blood is ma'akiv. V'tani Rav, and Rav taught in our Mishnah mitzah dama. Rav had a different addition. If you would go into Rav's yeshiva in Surah, and you would open up his scroll, over there it would say mitzah dama instead of huza dama. Because that would be the last day. So, okay, and he has V'tani Rav mitzah dama. Okay, Tashima. Come and listen. It says, Vanisha b'dam yimatzei al yiseidam mizbeach chatasi. What's left over in the blood, you have to squeeze out into the foundation of the altar. This is a chatas. Bishlem l'Ravada Barava. Hainu d'ksiv Vanisha b'dam yimatzei chatasi. Ravada Barava says that what's left over from the blood, you squeeze out. It's a chatas. We understand the pasuk. It makes sense. This is the end of the process. You have to squeeze it out. Ella l'Rav Huna mai vanisher. What is it saying? What's left over? Sounds like you have to do it, and according to him, you don't have to do it. The Gemara answers, "Kedetanya debei Rabbi Yishmael." It's like Rabbi Yishmael is taught in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yishmael. What does it teach over there? So there's 2 words, but it's very important. She'im nishar. That if there was blood left over, you squeeze it out. That means that if there's no blood left over, you don't have to. It says vihanishar, and what's left over, but it doesn't mean that you have to. It just means that that's something that you do if there is. What happens if there was and he didn't? It's not saying. But it sounds like once you don't need to, so then that would be, it's not ma'akiv. Gemara asks 1 second. It concludes chatasi. It is a chatas. And I think it says something about when it says he, it means that it's ma'akiv. It says chatase. So it sounds like it is ma'akiv. So the Gemara answers Aresha. I think in the grammar they call this, they use the math term for the distribution, where you have one distributor. Thank you. So you have one clause where it applies to different parts of equally. So it doesn't have to be talking about Yimatzeh, that it's talking about Vanisha Yimatzeh, Vanisha Badam Yimatzeh. It's talking about the first part. Chatasi is going back on the beginning of the pasuk, which over there it says that you sprinkle the blood. That's the chatas. Chatasi, it is a chatas. It's not talking about the end of the pasuk. Chatasi, it's talking about the whole pasuk, the different parts of the
In
pasuk.
other words, it is a chatas. The mitzvah is not makev.
Right.
Simple.
Even though chatas is afterwards, but it's going back on an earlier part of. Right.
If there was no blood left for mitzvah, it was still a chatas. Isn't that what's
Yeah, but the problem is, according to the other opinion, if there's no blood left, it was what's happening here. You
We
need
didn't
to.
follow that.
You have the best sport jackets. I'm telling you. The jackets he wears.
They won't donate it to me. What do you want?
Really?
Tell me he wears
I didn't
one.
pay
He's
for
an
these.
all-star.
I paid the shotness and the taking out the shot. It cost me $80 a jacket, but I didn't pay for the jacket.
They're awesome.
Amalei Ravacha Brei Deravela Ravashi. Ravacha, the son of Rava, says to Ravashi, Elamayata Gabi Mincha. What is going on with the Mincha? The Ksiv that it says in the pasuk, Vaneseres. It says what's left over. What's left over by a mincha is eaten by the kainim. You do kmitza. What's left over is eaten by the kainim. It says hachinami shimni taisar. You want to also translate it to mean if there's left over, but you don't need to have anything left over. That means you do kmitza. You have a massive bowl. A little handful goes on the altar. What's left over is not ma'akiv. There's a problem. If you're going to say that it's not ma'akiv, v'hatanya, we're on top of Daf Tes. It says, Misolta misham nal kol nasa. It says from the flour and from the oil on all the frankincense that's burnt. There's something that's burnt on the altar. Prat shechasr salta v'chasr shamna v'chasr nasa. It says it's coming to exclude if any of the remnants of the mincha is lost before the kmitza is burnt, then it's a problem. It becomes puzzle. So if you want to say v'hanei seres means if there's left over, just like you did to v'hanishar badam, if there's left over, so then it comes out a contradiction over here because we said that the mincha needs to remain intact, and you can't just say if there's left over. Amri hasam ksiv v'haniseres kra yisera ksiv. Over there you have it. It says twice v'haniseres. It's twice v'haniseres. That means it's ma'akev. It's a rule in Kachim that whenever it repeats it twice, it's ma'akev.
Ma'akev means what?
Ma'akev means that if you didn't do it, the carbon's puzzle. Or if it's missing, the carbon's puzzle. If it says it once, that means that's what you're supposed to do. If it says it twice, it means it's ma'akev. Just like the he, that sounds like it makes it ma'akev. Masiv, Avua, the Shmuel, V'Ravav, and Ravuna. This is
Excuse me, where does that rule? What's the source of that rule?
I'm not sure, but we had it already in Zvachim and repeated in Menachem that if it repeats something, that means that the first one tells me that this is what you're supposed to do. The second one tells me that if you didn't do it, it invalidates it.
It's the parental rule of I'm not messing around. I just repeated myself. This is business.
That's deep.
It's
too early for that.
It's the jacket. It's the jacket.
That's a bit too early for that.
Gentlemen, you're seeing the jacket effect. Those affect the person.
I think they made a movie about it, the jacket. Didn't they make a movie about someone with the jacket?
Nice.
Whoa. You gonna learn? You gonna come learn? Yeah,
Yes,
we didn't start yet. We learned till things done now.
So over here it says, Avua de Shmuel
My father's name.
and Ravavin asks Ravuna. Now there's a huge problem here because Avua de Shmuel, it's like an impossibility to have this really on the charts here, but Avua de Shmuel is Shmuel's father. Shmuel and Rav are contemporaries. Rav Huna is a student of Rav. Shmuel's father, you're talking to Rav Huna, would be like a grandchild, almost, a grand student. So, the Shita Mekubetzes takes out the word Shmuel and you read it like this. Avua de Rav Avin asks to Rav Huna. translation you have of the Shmuel's father. There's got to be a note somewhere. Oh, isn't that interesting? Okay, to me it was like impossibility. Unless there's a Rav Huna that we never heard of, that's earlier, that we don't know.
Wow.
Okay, the Shittim Kometzes corrects it to that. It says like this: Echad chatasay v'echad ayla sa'if shemalkan. Whether it's a chatas sa'if, there's a question coming up. Whether it's a chatas sa'if or whether it's an ayla sa'if. Malika was done. Umitza daman chutzim kaiman, and the blood was squeezed out with the intention of something being done here out of the place. It's a type of pigel, not the real pigel. Pigel is chutzim manai. Chutzim kaiman is also puzzle. In the Torah, chutzim kaiman is because it's called pigel, but in Gemara, pigel is referring to chutzim manai.
Are you behind it or just doing this because?
No, I'm going a little bit ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
Can you handle it?
That was good.
So puzzle v'yein by kares. There's no kares there because it's not the real pigel. But chutzim manai, and that's pigel v'chayav of kares. Okay, no problem, right? So, however, ktani miyas mitzah daman. But we said the squeezing of the blood by a chatas sa'if, not the sprinkling of the blood. If mitzah is not ma'akiv, then how could it passel? You didn't have to do it at all. Here you're saying that the thoughts that you did by the mitzah, by the squeezing, is going to passel the chatas sa'if. You see, by a noila sa'if, that's all you do, is mitzah. By a chatas sa'if, you do hazaf,